Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Those who are here on Zoom, those listening to on YouTube, and will be listening later. We have been doing Nectar of Instruction, उपदेशामृत। ये ग्रंथ हम जो श्री रूप गोस्वामी जी द्वारा रचित है, कुछ 4-5 वीक से कर रहे हैं, और आई थिंक इससे ज्यादा ही समय हुआ। नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन वर्स 1, जो शिला प्रभुपाद जी ने ट्रांसलेट किया है। शिला प्रभुपाद जी हमारे लिए एक शिक्षा गुरु की तरह हैं। जो भी इस्कॉन में जुड़ता है, किस तरीके से उन्होंने सेवा करी और किस तरीके से वो एस्पायर करते हैं। Let's do Mangalacharan, then we shall resume where we left last time. Om. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथवितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सवादूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखावितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी नमामि हरिप्रिये। पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव महाराज की जय। जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। हरे कृष्णा। वेलकम everyone. And I was thinking, I mentioned about Srila Prabhupada ji. Srila Prabhupada ji is the driving force behind the whole movement. And yesterday I heard a lecture, very different lecture, because the lecture is not from the movement, but lecture is on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji. Lecture is delivered, and I think it's publicly available. And I was wondering why my YouTube suggested me, because the lecture is from Swami Sarvapriyananda ji, who comes in Ramakrishna Paramhans order, where Swami Vivekanand ji happened. Well, Swami Vivekanand ji put together Ramakrishna mission on behalf of his spiritual teacher, on the name of his spiritual teacher. And in that order, Guru, Shishya, disciple succession, Swami Sarvapriyananji is currently there. And I think he's 45 years old at least. Very learned and very hands-on. So he did his own meditation. He does mostly Vedanta. And Hare Krishna movement, ISKCON, is Dvaita And Vedanta is mainly the part of Vedanta which he deals with, which Swami Vivekananda ji spread out, is Advait Vedanta. So Dvait two, Advait one, no two. So it was surprisingly why Swami Sarvapriyananda ji, who's from Advaita, discussing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji, who is Dvaita. He wanted to, well, I heard the lecture, roughly 1 hour, and it's there on YouTube if you like to check out Swami Sarvapriyananda ji on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji. And in one, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita, and there are lots of, I don't even remember how many verses are there, but there is a Ant, Madhya, and sorry, there is a beginning, middle, and end. So all there are three sections and a lot of verses there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji's whole life is like a biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji by Kaviraj Krishna. Kaviraj Goswami ji, who was very old. Like Srila Prabhupada ji, very old when he was finishing. Hence, he put together Krishna book because he thought he might not able to give all the purpose. And he knew what was coming because Srila Prabhupada ji only gave the purpose of 10 cantos of Bhagavatam. Last two were done by his disciples, not by himself. Similar thing happened there. Chaitanya Kaviraj Goswami ji, when he wrote about Mahaprabhuji, he wasn't sure whether he will able to finish, and he rushed a lot in the beginning. But then he had the time, and he spread a little bit more in Madhya and Anta. You go for that, and it's a big granth. But in that 1 hour, Swami Sarvapriyananji kind of summarized it all. And he's a great speaker and a very immensely learned preacher, I would say. Bhakti is not, so it's a Gyan Marg and Bhakti Marg. So ISKCON is Bhakti Marg, and Swami Sarvapriyananji, Vivekananji, they are Gyan Marg. But of course, in Bhakti Marg, we have Gyan, what we are doing now, we read the scriptures. And in there, in Gyan Marg, they do end up in Bhakti Marg as well, like mm, our Adi Shankaracharya ji started Advaita, well, brought back Advaita Vedanta, and at the end he put together Govinda, Bhaji Govinda, which is so Madhuram, Madhuram, beautiful. That's another, if you haven't already, then it's available on YouTube. Bhaj Govinda was by Adi Shankaracharya ji, which is just Bhakti. Bhakti of Vishnu, Bhakti of Krishna. Govinda itself is Krishna. So they wanted to share the Bhakti Marg, how Bhakti Marg could let you to it. And it's amazing the way he did the whole Granth in 1 hour. And even though he doesn't belong to what we say Gaudiya Math, Gaudiya Math is the follower of Gaudiya. And ISKCON is from Gaudiya Math as well. If you like to, then in 1 hour, I think it's a great summary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. The key points of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji dealing with his devotees, his disciples, they all are there as well in that. One thing about Srila Prabhupada ji he mentioned, Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji said that a day will come that in the nook and corner of the world, Harinam Sankirtan will be sung. And Srila Prabhupada ji, he said it. He's not from ISKCON, he's not from Hare Krishna movement, but he said it that in the same lineage, Srila Prabhupada ji happened, who came. So he was in New York when he was delivering, and he said, who came to right here, this place, New York? And he said that he made it happen. And if you check out, you will hardly find any country where ISKCON doesn't have a temple or a presence. For example, if you go to Middle East, we don't have temples there because of the region. We can't create it, but people are working on it. Like there is one on Abu Dhabi, there is coming up another one soon in Dubai. But the presence is there. You will find devotees in Saudi. You will find not only you find devotees, devotees are very active doing the preaching. So I was there. I was asked to deliver a lecture in the heart of Aramco, which is the biggest company in Saudi. If Saudi is run by one company, then it's Aramco in oil and gas. And one of the Prabhujis who works in Aramco, he called me to his place. And the Prabhuji himself is doing a great service. He does kids classes very regularly, and there were a lot of kids there, and we had a great time there. And Rath Yatras happens there, Ekadashis happen there, all of them. Same thing in Kuwait, Qatar, Oman. Great, what we call it actually, they say either Dubai or Oman. The whole Bhakti Vriksha concept was originated from there. And I happen to be in Oman as well, in Muscat and Sohar, they call it. They so many devotees there, so many devotees. And this morning we attended. So there is a Chaitanya Charitamrita session every morning, every Saturday morning. All the devotees are from Middle East there. How that happened? Because of Srila Prabhupada ji. This is what Swami Sarvapriyanand ji have said as well, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji around 550 years back said it, that this will happen. And then around 50 years back, when Srila Prabhupada ji came to America to start it, because that's where ISKCON was founded as an organization. Well, throughout the world, it's going on. And if somehow we can serve there, then it's really, really helpful. First thing is to do ourselves, and then I'll share one of the example. I haven't actually stopped the sharing because I'm going to share the other screen now. The so this presentation is from Radhe Shyam Prabhuji. Well, one thing I wanted to mention, one of the lecture was delivered yesterday or day before yesterday in London, in Watford Temple in Bhaktivedanta Manor by His Holiness Swam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj Ji. And at the end, and that was on Chaitanya Charitamrita as well. At the end, one of the Matajis asked the question, and the question there were many great questions, but one of the question was that Mataji wanted to, what she said, that I want to share Krishna with a friend. But friend is not ready to take it. What shall I do? How do I kind of penetrate the mess? I think the way she said it was what Maharaji said. Maharaji gave his own personal example, because she was giving her example, her personal example. Maharaji gave her personal example. Maharaji said, I do preach to my mother, but she's not ready yet. And she might not even, and then he said, join ISKCON as we would like to be. But what do we do? What can we do? What can I do for my mom? What can you do for your friend? What can we do for the society? And then just to summarize the essence is that we could become the role model. So your friend would just see you, how happy you are, how spiritual you are, how helpful you are, how pious you are. When things going wrong, you are still stable. And just to look at you, how you've been dealing with your life, your friend will get attracted. Similarly, hopefully, if my mom will get associated with me and other devotees in the temple, because that's where Maharaji is associated with. So anyone who will get associated with Maharaji is going to get associated with devotees and Krishna automatically. So in that way, the association, your association and your personal association and your association that you get associated with, all that association will help the people whom you get associated with. So when a spiritual person meet the material person, then what happens? The material person will share material things, but the spiritual person will share spiritual things, right? Sometimes, so Srila Prabhupada ji used to do it. Many examples where Srila Prabhupada ji, there was a lawyer, I think, and somebody said that what Srila Prabhupada ji will talk to lawyer about it, something. And Prabhupada ji did it for many, many hours. Another example where there was a temple, and I think in America when lots of temples were opening, Srila Prabhupada ji was taken from airport to this temple, and then people, Prabhupada ji was asking how is it going, and said that there is a next door neighbor and there is an old lady there. She doesn't like it. She says that you make noise. Because of course Mataji couldn't understand that devotees are singing, dancing. It's a noise to her. And they are saying that she makes a lot of trouble for us. She sometimes calls police, she sometimes calls and throws. She's old enough, sometimes she throw things from the fence at us. She's a trouble, devotee said. Srila Prabhupada said, okay. And then while they were going to the temple, then this Mataji was sitting there at the front of the house. And in America, usually the houses are big. So she was sitting right in like veranda, if I could understand. Right at the front of the house, there was a sitting area, and she was sitting there. And Prabhupada said, okay, can we stop there? I will speak to her. And everybody said, no, 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 Prabhupada, don't do it. You just go. She's very nasty. She will offend you and all. Prabhupada said, no, that's okay. Let's go and speak to her. And Prabhupada went there. Prabhupada was, of course, old. She was old. She gave Prabhupada. So initially, she didn't give Prabhupada space to sit, but Prabhupada said, I'm so sorry. I heard that the devotees, whatever the activities they are doing in the temple, make some noise, and that noise is disturbing you. I'm so sorry. I'm here to apologize. As soon as Prabhupada said that, she melted and she said, oh, that's okay. Please take a seat. I'm glad you're here. Now you can make these youngsters understood what my problem is because I'm old, you are old. We understand each other, but these youngsters, they don't listen. And that was the time in America. Well, even now, I think nowhere the teenagers or the youngsters listen to their parents or the elders. Like in India, people usually have the respect. But in America, during those times, it was even like a lot of hippies were around. Prabhupada sat down there and Prabhupada asked a lot of things about a lot and a lot of them. And devotees were saying, Prabhupada, shall we go? And Prabhupada said, yeah, yeah. The devotees said, so one of the devotee who later on recorded this said that I was feeling sorry that Prabhupada is spiritual and Prabhupada, because of us, because we were making noise, because of us, Prabhupada had to listen to her material talk. During this time, Prabhupada would have done a lot of preaching to the spiritual. Because remember, Prabhupada was a role model. Prabhupada is still a role model. Prabhupada was traveling from one place to another and might be there for a short period before he would move away. And the devotees at the temple, they were seeking his association because they had so many doubts they wanted to ask. So Prabhupada heard a lot, and around after 40 minutes, Prabhupada said, okay, I got to leave now. And then she said, well, it's a pleasure meeting you. Come around sometime and we will sit and we will have a chat. And I really enjoyed our conversation. Prabhupada said, oh, me too. Yeah, sure, I will come around. And then Prabhupada said, well, in the evening, we have a session. Would you like to come along? And she did. And she did. And this technique, Prabhupada employed so many places. George Harrison here in London. It says when Prabhupada first met him, he didn't know about Hare Krishna. He just knew music. And Prabhupada spoke to him about music. And then Prabhupada said, have you heard our Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Once he did, that's it. That's it. So this is the technique Prabhupada. This is even if a spiritual person gets connected to material person, you can take their association, but you got to give your association. Rather than take their material association, give your spiritual. Association. Hare Krishna. Let's move on. Let's continue where we left. Attehara Prayasacha Prajalpo Niyamagraha Jan Sangaschalolyam Cha Shanubir Bhakti Vinashyati. विनाश। हरे कृष्ण। हमने नोटिस किया हमारे साथ में कुछ माता जी भी हैं जो हिंदी में पसंद करती हैं। अत्तेहारा। अत्तेहारा। हमने बात करी थी इस बारे में कि कौन सी चीजें ऐसी हैं जो कि हमको ज्यादा नहीं लेनी चाहिए, ज्यादा कंज्यूम नहीं करनी चाहिए, ज्यादा खाना नहीं चाहिए। अत्तेहारा रिप्रेजेंट्स ओवर कंजम्पशन। ओवर कंजम्पशन कुड बी फूड, could be clothes, could be sensory, anything, anything. And Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So these are the main problems. And they are the problems, but they're going to happen to everyone anyways. Anyway, so we have to take care of it. And we need the brain, we need the clothing, we need the money, but appropriate level. Appropriate level. I will give you another example, real live example. A friend of mine, I visited briefly to their place, and well, their kids come to our spiritual classes on Sunday evening. So, and they are from Vrindavan. I'm not sure whether their parents are there. I don't know whether they were born in Vrindavan. They have moved on, of course. But I always say Radhe Radhe. And their kids, maybe 5 years back, they asked me what Radhe Radhe is. But now, while I was talking to his father, he opened the window. I'm thinking, not maybe 7, 8 years old. And he opened the window and he just shouted from there, Radhe Radhe. Such a pleasure, such a pleasure. And association, just association. Kids would just do whatever we do. And so the parents invited me in there very briefly. I was there and they were discussing retirement. We are in that age around 40, 45. We're halfway through and you start planning for retirement. And they said, oh, well, what are we going to do? Where are we going to retire? I said, well, you are from Vrindavan. Where else you want to go? Vrindavan is the best place to retire. Oh yeah, but these days it's very expensive as well. And they said, anywhere if you will go. I said, well, in India it shouldn't be that expensive. They say, no, you need at least 1 lakh rupees. And they started giving me the figures, and those figures were not incorrect. Like you need, if you wanna, because of course when you retire, you're old, you don't want to do the driving because you've been away from India that long. You will have 10,000 rupees for the driver, 10,000 rupees for the cook, 10,000 rupees for the cleaner, the household maid, and all. And they gave me so many, and before you knew it was like 1 lakh. And I said, wow, that's amazing. I came home, I asked my mother-in-law that she has been living alone for nearly 10 years now. I said, so if you have your own house, right? She got her own house, there's no mortgage, how much it takes? And this explains how pious my mother-in-law is, that she said 10 to 15,000. And she has a maid who comes around with a little bit of cleaning, wash the utensil, clean the house. 15,000 rupees. She lives in Delhi. I mean, doesn't really matter how expensive and commercial people say Vrindavan is. Vrindavan, I hope, is not as expensive as Delhi, the capital of India. 10 to 15,000 rupees you need currently. And this young couple in 40, 45 age saying that if you want to retire, but of course, they both are correct. They both are correct. दोनों ही अपनी जगह सही हैं। क्यों? अत्तेहारा। अत्तेहारा। आपका खर्चा महीने का 10-15 हजार में भी हो सकता है और 1 लाख में भी शायद पूरा ना पड़े। क्यों? अत्तेहारा। One should not collect more than necessary. हम कहते हैं हमेशा रोटी कपड़ा और मकान. So there are three necessities of the human body. If we say human living, if you want to live nicely, we need the house. And of course, by that time, you would hope there's no mortgage left. So the house is yours, the biggest one. Then the clothing. Well, if you are not one of those who change your clothing every month, then once you buy the clothes, they go for years. Even if you buy once in a year, you have enough, especially at old age. where you don't have to worry much about this. So, well, I'm not guessing for everyone, but I'm just think in terms of devotees. अगर भक्तों के पास में एक कुर्ता है और वो कुर्ते भी अगर वाइट ही हैं सेम, और क्योंकि अगर आपके पास में अलग अलग कलर के कुर्ते हैं तो आप ये सोचेंगे कि अच्छा इस दिन ये पहनेंगे, इस दिन ये पहनेंगे, पर माने आपके पास में सिर्फ वाइट है, तो आपको ये टाइम भी लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है कि आज कौन सा कुर्ता पहनेंगे, आपके पास वाइट है और आप वाइट ही पहनेंगे। सो इसलिए आप अगर मंदिर में जाते हैं तो या तो सैफरन पहनते हैं या फिर वाइट पहनते हैं। और ऐसा सिर्फ इस्कॉन में ही नहीं, बहुत और अलग संस्थाओं में भी है, वाइट को एक प्योरिटी मानी गई है। तो अत्तेहारा, किस हद तक आप इस चीज को सोच सकते हैं और किस लेवल पे ये हो सकता है। 10-15 thousand rupees, 1 lakh, the difference is 10 times. But they both are right. Just because one person they are going into Attehara. Hence, Srila Prabhupada said, why do we work so hard? Because we want to maintain that social status. If we go by the principle Srila Prabhupada gave, simple living, high thinking. But thinking should be high. Keep reading the books. Keep analyzing yourself. And more you read, more you analyze yourself, the simple you will become. The simple. And more simpler you will become, more easier the life is. There is no one else to please except Krishna. And what Krishna said, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toya. These things, they don't even cost or cost much. Patram, you have the leaves you can get it, fruits and the water, how much? And even Krishna accepts the Mansik Puja. Even from like in the flight, you got the food, you don't have Tulsi Patta there to do the bhog, but you can always close your eyes and offer it to Krishna. You eat wherever you eat. So we don't really need that much. This is the very first thing we need to understand. We don't really need that much. We need enough. Of course, the planning should be there, but we need to plan for the future when we retire, or even maybe now, or something goes wrong, the way we're thinking. But how much do we need? How much do we need? And that's where it goes: lust, greed, anger. In Bhagavad Gita, it's been explained that these are the three gates of hell. नर्क के तीन द्वार हैं: लस्ट, ग्रीड, एंगर। लालच और ऐसी इच्छाएं जो कभी पूर्ण हो ही नहीं सकती। लालच, जिसकी वजह से इच्छाएं उठती हैं, और ये इच्छाएं जो पूरी नहीं हो सकती, उनकी वजह से हमें गुस्सा आता है। बहुत सिंपल कहा, अगर आपके अंदर कोई इच्छाएं हैं, मटीरियल इच्छाएं, और वो पूरी हो जाती हैं, तो वह आपकी इच्छा बढ़ जाएगी। हम अपने एग्जाम्पल अपनी लाइफ में देख सकते हैं। एक टाइम था, हमारी सैलरी 20,000 थी, ग्रेजुएट की सैलरी। अगर हम इंडिया में बात, यूके में बात करें, लंदन में ग्रेजुएट की सैलरी लगभग 20,000 रुपीज होती है। 20,000 पाउंड पूरे साल की। आप ग्रेजुएट उसमें बहुत खुश होता है, शादी हो जाती है, 30,000, 40,000, 45,000, 50,000। 50,000 ऑलरेडी यूके की अबव सैलरी से ऊपर है। यूके की आई थिंक अभी भी अगर आप एवरेज सैलरी देखेंगे तो वो पूरे साल की 35-40,000 से ज्यादा नहीं होगी, एवरेज यूके सैलरी। अगर कोई 50 कर रहा है तो ऑलरेडी एवरेज से ऊपर है। इसके अंदर आपकी शादी भी हो गई है, वाइफ अगर आपकी काम नहीं भी कर रही है, पार्टनर आपके काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, आपके बच्चे भी हैं, और क्योंकि यहाँ पे स्कूलिंग फ्री है, उसके बाद में ग्रेजुएशन के लिए आपको डिग्री के लिए पैसे देने होते हैं, उसके अंदर भी अगर आपके पास में नहीं है तो यूनिवर्सिटी या गवर्नमेंट भी थोड़ी सी हेल्प करती है। लेकिन 50 की जगह आपके डबल हो जाए, 100,000, वो भी कम पड़ने लगते हैं। 150,000, 200,000, वो भी कम पड़ने लगते हैं। क्यों? एवरेज से ऊपर जो पैसे हैं उसके डबल, ट्रिपल और 4 गुना भी हो जाएं तब भी कम पड़ने लगते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि आपके लाइफस्टाइल चेंज हो गया। आप जो घर में रहते थे वो अब बड़ा हो गया है, आपकी जो गाड़ी है वो फास्ट हो गई है, आपके जो कपड़े हैं वो और एक्सपेंसिव हो गए हैं, अब आपके जो सोशल गैदरिंग है उसमें जो आप जाते हैं, जो हॉलीडेज हैं वो और महंगे हो गए हैं। आपने और प्रॉपर्टीज ले ली हैं, आपने अब इन्वेस्टमेंट कर ली है। बहुत ग्रीड। आप लालची होते चले जाते हैं, हम लालची होते चले जाते हैं, हमारी इच्छाएं बढ़ती रहती हैं। अगर एक इच्छा पूरी हो जाए तो फिर दूसरी इच्छा आएगी। और वो इच्छाएं कब तक आती रहेंगी? एक दिन तो ऐसा होगा जब वो इच्छा पूरी नहीं होगी, और जिस दिन पूरी नहीं होगी उस दिन हमको, अगर तो पूरी हो गई तो अहंकार आएगा, फॉल्स ईगो। मैं कितना समझदार हूं, मैंने इतना सब कुछ कमा लिया। और जहां पे वो पूरी नहीं होंगी, और कभी ना कभी तो ये आएगी कि वो पूरी नहीं होंगी, और जब वो पूरी नहीं होंगी तब तब हमें गुस्सा आएगा। तो अगर पूरी हो गई तो फॉल्स ईगो, फॉल्स प्राइड। और अगर पूरी नहीं हुई तो गुस्सा, डिप्रेशन, लालच की वजह से सब कुछ खत्म हो सकता है। नर्क के तीन द्वार, इससे बड़ा और क्या कह सकते हैं? और यहीं पे हम कह रहे हैं, क्षणभर भक्ति विनश्यति, विनाश हो जाता है ऐसा। जब विनाश हो जाता है तो आप स्वर्ग की जगह नरक तक पहुंच जाते हैं। तो वी डोंट नीड टू कलेक्ट सो मेनी थिंग्स, वी डोंट नीड टू ईट सो मेनी थिंग्स। फोकस, focus, and focus. What do we need? The priorities should be very clear. Only two things we need. First, we need to know what's wisdom. Then, second, we should be Goswami so we can follow. The senses are in our control and we can follow the wisdom. Right? So, a lot of people, they know alcohol is bad, they know the cigarette is bad. The first thing is there, the knowledge is there, the wisdom is there. But the second thing is the biggest one. We don't have control on our senses. We know we are overweight. We know we are drinking, we are smoking. This is bad. But this is Atyahara. Body doesn't need, but we are giving. Why? Because we have that. Oof. So we need to understand this is encroach upon others' got. We think a lot of times somebody else got it, we should also get. No, no. Everybody has his or her own quota being given based on their previous karmas and, of course, current actions which are making the future. So we need to understand Attehara and then Prayascha. This is an okay. Let's plain living and high thinking. We discussed how this could help. Krishna is always there to help us. You see, it says that somebody who is living in the village and there on the mercy of Krishna, very happy. But people, a lot of people from village to they move to the city, and initially, of course, the lifestyle, the what they couldn't get in village, now they're happy to have all of that in the city. But after a while, they realize the real nature of city. It breaks you down, breaks you down. We don't have patience anymore. A bit of traffic jam and it's gone. Now, luckily enough, I'm from Delhi, and the traffic bad. It's bad. It's very, very bad. But when you come to London, it's not good either. But compared to Delhi, it's very good. So when people, because we were up north in Sheffield, when people come from Sheffield to London, they say the traffic is bad. But when people from Delhi, they come to London, they like that because it's very good, right? So it's our expectations. Whatever Krishna gives, I think we can make the best use of it. This is what Srila Prabhupada ji said it. Make the good use of the bad bargain. So what the solution is, we don't really need to. Gandhi ji did it. Gandhi ji said that each and every house of mine should be able to get sunlight. And I don't want to put anything in my house which is coming, I think, more than 500 kilometers away from the place, whether it was 50 or 500 kilometers from the place. So everything should be locally sourced. People say, oh, well, we got this carpet from France, these marbles from Italy or Ireland. No, whatever is local. We should, even now, the modern science has accepted that local food is always the best food to have it because that's fresh, less preservatives. Something coming from far away, either it won't be fresh, or to keep it fresh, there will be a lot of preservatives. So we need to understand that. So, human life, we need to inquire. Brahma Jigyasa. This is what Upanishad says. Only one thing we need. What? We need the curiosity. The very first thing when we will be curious, we will say, who am I? And then we start reading Bhagavad Gita. We will understand Bhagavad Gita. This will help us. अगर हम ये समझ पाए कि क्या है हम, क्यों है हमारा जन्म, क्या पर्पस है, हम अगर देखें भगवद गीता के अंदर हम जो 5 टॉपिक डिस्कस करते हैं, उसके अंदर हम यही देखते हैं, जीवात्मा जो हम हैं, और भगवान, ये जो मटेरियल बॉडी, मटेरियल संसार हमारे आसपास है, जिसको हम चैप्टर 14 में कहा है क्षेत्रज्ञ, 13 एंड 14 में क्षेत्रज्ञ। ये क्षेत्रज्ञ जो फील्ड है हमारी, जिसके अंदर मटेरियल वर्ल्ड के अंदर, ये ऐसे जिसे हम कहते हैं कि हम एक नाव की तरह हैं पानी में, नाव की तरह पानी में। वो पानी नहीं है तो नाव एक तट से दूसरे तट पे पहुंच नहीं पाएगी, तो पानी बहुत जरूरी है। तो ये मटेरियल वर्ल्ड बहुत जरूरी है, ये बॉडी बहुत जरूरी है। हाँ। सो इसलिए मटेरियल वर्ल्ड को भी समझना है, बॉडी को भी समझना है, हमारी जो आत्मा है उसे भी समझना है, भगवान को भी समझना है। सो जीव आत्मा, भगवान, मटेरियल वर्ल्ड, 3 टॉपिक। फिर काल, टाइम, टाइम, बिकॉज अवर टाइम विल रन आउट। And then, what do we need to do to make good use of that time? कर्म। तो भगवत गीता के अंदर ये 5 टॉपिक कहे जाते हैं। हम जीव आत्मा और भगवान, ये 2। जो मटेरियल वर्ल्ड जिसमें हम जीते हैं, ये 3। जो समय है, 4th टॉपिक। एंड देन 5th टॉपिक, कर्म। इस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में जो हमारे पास में समय है, जीवात्मा के पास, जीवात्मा के पास में, इस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड के अंदर जो समय है, उसके अंदर हम कौन से कर्म करें ताकि हम परमात्मा तक पहुंच पाए। ये 5 टॉपिक अगर हम समझें, तो इस तरीके से हम भगवत गीता को अपने जीवन में उतार सकते हैं, डे टू डे लाइफ के अंदर। और यही हमारा पर्पस है। योर चॉइस नाउ विल डिसाइड योर फ्यूचर। हम अभी क्या कर रहे हैं उससे डिसाइड होगा कि हमारा फ्यूचर क्या है। अगर हम ह्यूमन लाइफ के अंदर इंक्वायरी करेंगे, कोई भी काम कर रहे हैं क्यों कर रहे हैं। कई बार बुजुर्गों से हम ये पूछते हैं कि आपके घर का पर्पस क्या है, सबसे ही पूछते हैं। लेकिन जो बच्चे हैं उनके लिए इजी है, हम पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं। जो यंग प्रोफेशनल्स हैं वो कहेंगे कि हम जॉब कर रहे हैं। जो और थोड़े से बड़े हो गए, बीवी बच्चे हैं, उनके घर परिवार की सेवा कर रहे हैं, घर परिवार का ध्यान रखना है। लेकिन वो बुजुर्ग जिनके बच्चे हो गए हैं और वो अब अपने बच्चों का ध्यान रख रहे हैं, तो उन बुजुर्गों को अपने बच्चों का ध्यान रखने की जरूरत नहीं है। वो अब क्या कर रहे हैं। अगर हम, हालांकि पहले वाले को भी भगवान से जुड़ के रहना है, लेकिन इनसे अगर हम पूछें कि क्या कर रहे हैं आप, क्योंकि उसी समय को हम कहते हैं कि सन्यास ले लिया जाता है या वानप्रस्थ होता है। तो और ये सन्यास और वानप्रस्थ ऐसा ही नहीं है कि सन्यास लेके आप घर छोड़ के चले जाएं, या वानप्रस्थ है तो आप जंगल में ही चले जाएं। कहते हैं जो मंक है, अगर आप मंक के कपड़े ना भी पहने, मंक माइंड सेट आप ले सकते हैं। आपके जो विचार हैं, और ये बहुत ही हमने देखा है, प्रहलाद महाराज, ध्रुव महाराज, ये राजा हुए हैं। अम्बरीश महाराज जी, बलि महाराज, ये राजा थे सारे के सारे। तो ये राजा के अपने सारे कार्य करते, लेकिन उसमें भोग, विषयों के अंदर भोग नहीं, भगवान को अर्पित करके वो अपने कर्म किया करते थे। लेकिन उससे पहले हमें इंक्वायरी करनी है, हमें पूछना है। तो पूछना है कि हमारे जीवन का पर्पस क्या है। एवरी डे हमें पूछना चाहिए, और ये देखना चाहिए जो भी हम कर्म कर रहे हैं, क्या हम उस पर्पस की तरफ पहुंच रहे हैं कि नहीं पहुंच पा रहे हैं। जो एग्जाम्पल बहुत अच्छा समझ आता है वो ये है कि जैसे हमारे पास में शॉपिंग लिस्ट है, शॉपिंग लिस्ट लेकर हम शॉपिंग मॉल के अंदर जाते हैं, और हम शॉपिंग लिस्ट की एक चीज, 2 चीज देखते देखते बीच में और भी कुछ चीजें देखते हैं जो शॉपिंग लिस्ट में नहीं थी। राइट। हम जितनी बाकी की चीजें देख लें, हमारा फोकस क्लियर होना चाहिए कि इतने समय में ये शॉपिंग लिस्ट कभी करके घर जाना है। बाकी की चीजें बीच में देख सकते हैं, लेकिन सोचें, अगर हम लिस्ट को भूल जाएं। लिस्ट क्या है? लिस्ट वो कर्म है जो हमें करने हैं। लिस्ट वो रिस्पॉन्सिबल ड्यूटीज है, प्रिस्क्राइब ड्यूटीज है जो हमें करनी है। और हमारे पास समय है, क्योंकि एक समय में मृत्यु आएगी और वो कभी भी आ सकती है। शॉपिंग के अंदर तो फिर भी हम कहेंगे आधा एक घंटा, लेकिन मृत्यु कभी आ सकती है, अगले पल आ सकती है, इसी पल आ सकती है। तो ये जो शॉपिंग लिस्ट है, ये जो भगवत गीता के अंदर प्रिस्क्राइब ड्यूटी है, ये हमें करनी है। हम बाकी सारी चीजों के अंदर भी व्यस्त हो सकते हैं, लेकिन अपने मकसद से ना हटे हैं कि हमें क्या करना है। तो वो इंक्वायरी है कि हमें इंक्वायर करते रहना चाहिए। जो भी चीज हम शॉपिंग मॉल में देख रहे हैं, क्या ये हमारी शॉपिंग लिस्ट में है? नहीं है। गुड टू नो, गुड टू नो। क्योंकि हम कहीं आगे किसी से मिलेंगे तो वो हमसे पूछ सकता है कि भाई वो चीज कहाँ है, आप बता सकते, वहां पे है, मेरी लिस्ट में नहीं है, लेकिन आपकी लिस्ट में है तो वहां पर है। जैसे कि कोई कहता है कि अरे पता लगा आपको पॉलिटिक्स में क्या हो रहा है, स्पोर्ट्स में क्या हो रहा है, ऑफिस के अंदर क्या हो रहा है, वो कंपनी में क्या हो रहा है, वो जॉब में क्या हो रहा है, इस प्रोफेशन में क्या हो रहा है, करंट अफेयर्स, इंडस्ट्री कॉन्शियसनेस, ये सारी चीजें होनी चाहिए। लेकिन वो हमारी लिस्ट में नहीं है, हमारा ध्यान हमारी लिस्ट की तरफ ही होना चाहिए। कि सारी चीजें हम देखते हुए जा रहे हैं, हमें पता है कि इस लेन में यहाँ पे ये मिल रहा है, लेकिन हम वहां पे रुकेंगे नहीं। तो रुक भी जाएंगे तो बहुत देर नहीं रुकेंगे, क्योंकि हमारे पास में लिस्ट है। ऐसे ही हर भक्त के पास में इंक्वायरी करते हुए, और इंक्वायरी क्या है? क्या यही कर्म है? क्या नेटफ्लिक्स की सीरीज कंप्लीट करना ही हमारी इंक्वायरी है? नहीं, ऐसा हो नहीं सकता। ऐसा हो नहीं सकता, क्योंकि जैसे हम हॉलीडे पे जाते हैं, हॉलीडे पे जाते हैं तो बहुत आनंद आता है, वापस आते हैं तो खत्म, खत्म। अब लेकिन ऐसे ही आप यात्रा करके कोई आए, एक हॉलीडे करके आए और एक यात्रा करके आए हैं कहीं, आप देखें हॉलीडे से क्या होगा, वो समय जो आपने बिताया आपने जरूर एंजॉय किया, बहुत एंजॉय किया, लेकिन आपके अंदर एज अ पर्सन कोई ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं, कि आप अपने लिस्ट में से कुछ और आइटम पूरे हो गए हो। नहीं, या ऐसी कोई कॉन्विक्शन अंदर आई हो कि अब आप ये लिस्ट के आइटम रेगुलर पीरियड पे करेंगे, कि रोज 16 माला करेंगे ही करेंगे। लेकिन यात्रा अगर आप करेंगे, भक्त का समय बिताएंगे, तो आप देखेंगे वापस जो अब आप आए, तो जो इंसान गया यात्रा में, अब जो वापस आए वो बेटर वर्जन होकर आया है। हॉलीडे पे आप ऐसा नहीं करते। हॉलीडे पे आपने अपने समय लगाया, आपने अपना बहुत सारा पैसा लगाया, आपने अच्छा फन किया, एंजॉय किया, वापस आ गए। लेकिन जो पर्सन हॉलीडे से पहले थे और जो पर्सन हॉलीडे के बाद में है, उसके अंदर कोई खास ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं। हाँ, एक स्टोरी और ऐड हो गई दूसरों के साथ शेयर करने के लिए, लेकिन उससे ना ही उनके अंदर कोई ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आएगा ना आपके अंदर। और यही कहीं आप कोई मेडिटेशन रिट्रीट के अंदर चले जाएं, कहीं यात्रा में चले जाएं, भक्तों के साथ कुछ समय बिता लें, देखें आपके अंदर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, जो लोग आपसे जुड़ेंगे उनके अंदर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। और आएगा कैसे? इंक्वायरी। इंक्वायरी तो ह्यूमन लाइफ है, इंक्वायरी करेंगे तो आगे जाएंगे, और अगर इंक्वायरी नहीं करेंगे तो नीचे। हमने गोलोक धाम देखा था। गोलोक धाम के अपर प्लानिटरी सिस्टम एंड लोअर प्लानिटरी सिस्टम, द चॉइस इज आर्स, द चॉइस इज आर्स। material world is equal to everyone based on our previous karmas. We got a birth, whichever way we got the birth, based on our karmas. But how are we going to inquire now? It's always our choice. Always. What we have, a lot of people, they like to blame the circumstances. But these circumstances are because of us as well. But whatever the circumstances, we are always a choice. Maybe we don't have a choice today. Maybe we don't have a choice this week, this month, this year, right? But we have the choice. What do we want to do within this hour, within this day, within this week, within this year? We can dedicate some time. And for that time, we don't even have to do prayasa. When we do the over endeavor for other things, then the time left for Krishna consciousness goes away. If you think about, we say the spiritual practices, they start in Brahma Muhurat, in the beginning. Why? So we can get all that done. So when I was in Saudi, I used to leave home 6 o'clock, because my cab will come quarter past 6 or 6:20, and I will walk to that place and I will wait 5 minutes. I will go 5 minutes earlier. Around 6 o'clock, I will leave. And then I will come home around 6:30. By the time I will come, I will cook prasad. I'm dead tired. If I will think of doing mala, then it will be very hard. Not only I don't have a time, I won't have the energy left in me. I have the prasad to cook, and then I'm tired. But if you sleep early, you have enough time in the morning. Hence, the very first thing in the morning, we should spend time in the spiritual. This is a great teaching our acharyas have given to us. Before you get to engage in material things, spend time spiritually. Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji, who is engrossed in money, he's kind of retired. His son has taken over, who is also very young. But Prabhuji set up. He was in the Bombay Stock Exchange. So in the stock, he had the shop. So the way they talk about money, and his teacher, His Holiness Radhana Swamiji Maharaj. So Maharaji said, before you step in there, complete your 16 months. And that's what he did. That's what he did. There were a couple of examples. He said a couple of times I couldn't do it. Once the fire happened, and once a big loss to his client who was out. So he had to rush. And he was already in the hospital. And once the fire broke out, he said for 30, 40 years, only twice when he rushed in the morning before completing his 16 malas. And you listen to his lecture, Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji's amazing, amazing cultivation. So in the morning, best time to do it. Before anything else, get that relation with Krishna. And then rest of the things will fall into place. So prayasa, first prayas is for spiritual endeavor, then the material endeavor. Even when in material endeavor, remember we don't have to maintain a lifestyle for 1 lakh rupees in India. We don't really have to. I think even if somebody will retire in UK, and if you have your own house, you can sort yourself out less than £1,000, which is equal to 1 lakh. Once you're retired, because you only have bills and food. Of course, a bit of travel here and there, but 1 lakh rupees in a year, in every month. I think all the expenses in the food for a couple could come. Well, council tax is getting expensive now. Touch the nerve. April happened. In April, everything got a bit more expensive now. But still, £1,000 should be enough to minimum bear your expenses and everything. So where the prayasa should be, we should think of it. Krishna has given us that intelligence, where and how to utilize it. And people do it in all these places. So the industry is there and the travel is there. Do we really need? Do we really need that prayasa? Do we need that attehara? Do we need that pras? We don't really need that much. We won't, but we will stop it here. And this is the example where the prayas should go, whether it should be immaterial or spiritual, and how we can make the balance. And these are real examples. These are real examples, and many, many devotees are doing it. Many devotees, they're doing great service online, in person, and this is where the endeavor is, not in material, but spiritual. Right. We have reached to the end of today's session. I hope I could do some service to these. Of course, there's a lot we can discuss, and we are going a bit slow as well, even though I've been talking a lot. But please think about it, and next time maybe we will discuss more. Feel free to discuss from your side some examples. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, jai jai Shri Radhe. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Danvat Pranam. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat. Thank you so much. सभी भक्तों को धन्यवाद. हरे कृष्णा, हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण कृष्ण, हरे हरे,